Jeanette Lawrence Forni's Allstate Insurance Agencies presents the Small Business Voice with Justin Duncan and Jeanette Forni on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app. We're here every Saturday to highlight local entrepreneurs and small business owners to learn how they succeed to build their businesses from the ground up. What were their challenges and what are their victories? Jeanette, how are you this morning?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So today we have Sean Dean from South Bay Grading coming in, and he's also bringing in Izzy Trujillo, and he's with the Sparq social media marketing. And we're going to kind of see how they're working together. And
I had a chance to pop into a green room, and I was just talking to him real quick. And it's an interesting story because we're talking contracting and social media.
Exactly.
And you know, these days, social media is everything. If I'm going to go find a restaurant, I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to go in Google. I'm going to see the reviews. I'm going to see where they're located, their hours of operation, everything else. And here it's interesting because one of the gentlemen, he's a contractor. And as you know, my husband's a contractor. And that's the one thing that contractors seem to be lacking in is they don't have a web page and they don't have the time for social media. They're good at what they're doing. And I mean, that's the whole thing. My husband would always say, like, I wouldn't be sweating to death on a brand new construction site if I knew how to do the computers and sit behind a desk.
Yeah.
And when you think about social media and web pages, you're always talking about the little boutiques and you're talking about the social media presence of something different than contractors. And so I'm really interested to hear how this pairing got together with, I guess he's a general A, so that would be engineering contractor. That's the big equipment.
Yeah.
I think those are the people that do the grading and the bridges and the freeways and all of the big equipment. So yeah, this will be nice to hear what they're offering for contractors out there.
Yeah. So I met Sean actually at a Grant Cardone event in Florida.
The realtor, right?
Yeah. Well,
but he does more than that, right?
Well, he's not a realtor, but so Cardone does Cardone Capital. He does, but he also does a marketing class and he does a social media class.
Oh, so that I remember when you went to Florida, and it had to do with.
It had to do with
skills for marketing and
sales. It was
sales?
a sales class. Yeah, that's what it was. So Sean and I met at the sales class, and then I stayed an extra week for the marketing class. So I was there for a long time. It was a long trip, but
was it worth it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think anytime you're trying to broaden your horizons, you know, it's money well spent, and you know, you learn a lot. You know, Yeah, I mean,
the industry's changing, and I'm always like, I remember you once asked me, you know, what I'm planning for next year, and one of the things I said was, I look at my peers and I ask them, you know, what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
And we're always doing continuing education, and when it comes to social media, that's changing so fast.
Social media is always changing, you know.
And everybody needs it now. So this is really interesting. Nobody thinks about construction and social media. Those are two things that usually do not go hand in hand. And so I'm very excited to hear how these two people met and what gave them the idea. And, you know, the whole thing with sales is you find a need and fill it. So obviously there was a need out there and they're filling it. And so let's find out what they're doing.
All right. So you're listening to Small Business Voice with Justin Duncan and Jeanette Forni on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app. So you just hired somebody in your office that's more focused on sales, correct?
Yes. My position was definitely for a sales position, and I did a lot of personality tests.
Okay.
And so it's not only because when you're hiring someone, they'll tell you anything.
Yeah.
And I don't care what their personality is. They're going to tell you they can sell if they want that job. And so I've always found it's very interesting to give a personality test, see really what makes them tick and what makes them work. Because you're not doing anyone a favor putting them in a position that they're not really meant to be in. Because they're going to struggle, you're going to struggle, and it costs so much money to train a person for a position. But my whole idea is I got to get them trained now. We're coming towards the end of the year because you plan towards next year. And next year, Allstate's going to be going through a growth. And so, and a lot of things are changing in the industry. So once again, stop by my office, call my office, get a second opinion on your policy. And if you don't have earthquake insurance, maybe you should see whether you need it or not. Because we're in California, it's getting ready to happen. And I don't know, with these two moons that we're having and through next month, November, they're saying that makes the moons. I mean, look at that. That's like the tides and the magnetic infrastructure of the whole planetary system. And now we've just added a second moon. What is that doing to, storms? And it can increase earthquakes. And so make sure you take a look at your homeowner's policy. Are you insured?
Yeah. Well, and the good thing, we're not on a fault, but if there's a...
California is a fault. I mean, there were faults they didn't even know about until it ended up happening.
Yeah. Well, I remember in 1989, that was a huge earthquake, and we felt it in Modesto. So, I mean, it just because it's centered in, I think is it the Hayward Fault or something like that, or the San Andreas Fault?
Yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah.
And I was in what's called a concrete tilt-up. And I mean, those things will just collapse like a, deck of cards, card house.
Oh, wow.
But think about it. No matter when an earthquake or where it happens, you drive a truck.
Yeah.
What happens now to the food supply? What happens when the bridges are down? Well, our guests will rebuild them. But, but I mean, the whole infrastructure goes down. And that's the whole thing. Your house might not be destroyed, but you might not be able to live in it because there's no road to get to it. There's no water because the pipes broke. And so, it's something to be
it's funny you
about.
mentioned that because I remember the Nimitz Freeway collapsed back in 1989. It took almost 10 years to get that rebuilt.
It collapsed like a sandwich. Those poor people were trapped in the cars.
Well, crushed. It was horrible. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe we should lighten up the show a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. So
get your insurance checked, plan for your business. If you are in construction out there, we've had a lot of people in construction on this show. And so, I mean, if you're a licensed contractor, what are you doing for your social media? How do people find you? Because right now, I think it is by word of mouth. And that's the whole thing. A lot of contractors, if they're looking for somebody, they ask another contractor. And I'll tell you, it's hard finding someone and then seeing what their specialty is.
Well, and then, the other thing, too, is you got to make sure they are a licensed contractor because there is a lot of people out there doing work that aren't licensed.
Okay, and let's put it also this way. We used to do a lot of restoration work and things like this, and we'd come in and say, who did this? And I said, well, we got them from, the Home Depot or something like this, and they were in the book, and they have their license number. And we'd look them up. Their license was for plumbing. And they had been doing sheetrock and, these kind of work that they really weren't qualified to do. Just because you have a contractor's license, you should look it up on the California State License Board. And you can find out also if there has been any infractions or anything else. Do they have insurance? But as an insurance agent, when I write a general liability or a business policy for a contractor, not only do I look up their license number, being a licensed contractor shows you've gone through the years of experience and to be able to be given the license to do your field. But also, they always ask, do they have a website? Because they want to go on that website and they want to see what does this person actually do. And this is where contractors, let's say especially painters, might get in trouble. They're just, painting contractor, but somebody designed a website for them that says restores antiques. And all of a sudden the insurance company goes, oh, we're not touching this one at all. And I go, you restore antiques? Well, I could. And I'll go, you're not going to get insurance. I mean, put down what it is actually that you do. Don't advertise something that you are really not doing every single day. So it's not just having a website. It's having a website that represents exactly what you do. Because a contractor's license, there are specialties within that area. Just because you're a general B, you have a license to be able to build a house from dirt to doorknob, as they say. But you might specialize in bath and kitchen remodels. I would never have you build a house from dirt to doorknob. Yeah. So, I mean, find out that not only are they licensed, but what do they do, and make sure your website reflects that.
So, really quick, can people call you to check? People need to do their homework, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so can they call their insurance company and say, hey, this is the company I want to hire,
Just look it up on the Contractor State License Board.
Okay.
And look them up under either their name, their business name, their license number, because if they give you a business card or advertise, their contractor's license number has to be there. Now, there's a difference between a contractor's license number and someone that's trying to pass themselves off as a contractor with a business license. Two very big different things.
All right.
And it should also be on their website. So you can
I
check.
would still say call you.
Go ahead, call me, and I can look them up and see if the person who's going to do your remodel for your bathroom actually holds a landscaper's license. Okay?
There you go.
There we go.
Call 209-667-2222 and ask for Jeanette Forni, and she'll do the homework for you.
I'll help you with whatever you need,
All right, so when we come back, we have Sean Dean and we have Izzy Trujillo. So Sean owns South Bay Grading Company, and they also co-own this marketing company, Sparq, social media marketing.
Yeah,
so
I'm interested how they got that put together. I mean, two totally different, separate things, but they're making it work, I guess.
Yes, so more to come on the Small Business Voice on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app. Stay with us.
Here we go.
Welcome back to the Small Business Voice with Justin Duncan and Jeanette Forni on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app. Reach out to us for more information about our featured guests by texting 209-896-6500, or you can always email us at info@smallbusinessvoicemedia.com. So today we have Sean Dean. He is president of South Bay Grading. So we're going to kind of talk about that, but we're also going to get more into the social media part. So we also have Izzy Trujillo. They're both with Sparq social media marketing, and you guys kind of found a lag somewhere in the construction industry. Correct? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you guys kind of explain to us how this company came together and how you kind of help the construction industry?
Okay, so Sean is the contractor, right?
Yeah.
And then Izzy Isidro, he's the social media person. And I mean, you can't have more opposites. Social media is outgoing, and then contractors, they just do the work. And especially when you're talking engineering. I mean, a Class A contractor, correct?
Correct.
How long have you been a contractor, Sean?
25, 30 years now.
Yes. Yeah. So now we're talking, this is all like math. I mean, people think you can just go and dig, but there's so much involved. And it's one of the hardest contractor tests to take out there. I mean, even if you specialize, like we were talking about, plumbing and painting and everything else, but this one here, these are the people that have the ability. These are the ones you call to build freeways, bridges, and what, Sean, you specialize in grading, right? So that's the big, heavy equipment. But think about that. The last person I spoke to that was actually looking for insurance, he was digging up old gas stations to be able to take out those gas lines. And now I'm thinking, and here they have this social media company called Sparq. I'm going like, Sparq is not something you should have when it comes to, grading. But so you found each other, you found a need, and we already talked about there is a need out there. So how did the two of you meet, and tell us the story?
So Isidro and I met at a Cardone sales and marketing training workshop. And he was one of the guys that I met, and when we got to talking, he lived in Hollister, which was great because I live in Santa Clara, and most of the people that we meet at those functions are from the East Coast or in the Midwest, and so it's hard to find connections in California. But we had an idea that as I started watching Cardone and I got to know
why
him,
were you there? We can understand kind of like why Izzy was there doing social media, but I mean, you are a Class A contractor. Why are you going to a Cardone? Was it how to market your business? Or?
It was marketing and sales. So Grant wrote a book. He said it's sell or be sold. And everybody is either selling or being sold every day. And whether you call yourself a salesperson or not, fact is you've learned at a young age how to get your way. And that is, the 2-year-old selling you on giving them the candy so they stop screaming in the store, right?
I know they always blame it on the little girls, but I mean, my boys, they can get anything they want. I mean,
So I started following Grant after he did the TV show Undercover Billionaire. Then I started to, I saw that he was into real estate, which is something I've always been interested in. And then as a general contractor, I knew there was a need to do something different than, what I grew up in. I've been in the industry for 35 years, and contractors have always just kind of been the same. We have our our resources like a builder's exchange or somewhere where we're getting some plans, a lot of word of mouth, but not a real effort to extend yourself beyond that.
Or
that
market
zone,
yourself
or
and let
market.
people know that you're out there.
Right. So about the same time that I started looking into the marketing, Grant is very heavy on social media presence. He says you got to have a
Everybody
social media
is
presence,
these
right?
days. I mean,
Yeah.
Allstate wants me to post at least twice a week. It's
Right.
time consuming. I'm trying to
Yes.
run a business here.
Yes.
Yes.
So I started looking for somebody to help me just get some content collected and do social media posting, and I found that it was extremely expensive. The first couple of quotes that I got were between $15,000 and $20,000 a month, and
I want to know, why is it so expensive? I mean, it's a camera and a microphone.
right.
Yeah.
So what it came down to is that a lot of these companies, what they do is they fly out and they bring their team with them for a week. They spend 2 to 3 days filming content. Then they leave and they take that content and they use it over the course of about 6 months. So a lot of the content that they're creating is 6 months old. And so as a contractor, I thought, well, that's kind of silly because our world changes from week to week. I mean, a lot of projects we have can only be, some of them are less than a week long. So how are you?
And you have an engineering mind, so you're always thinking about the numbers and time.
Yeah. And, my goal with social media was to be able to, highlight what we're doing now. So that just, it was way more money than I could ever imagine spending.
I
on
enjoy
somebody to
some of
do.
those. I will tell you, I watch this guy, and he starts with, the grading and building really nice homes. And he's building a lot of homes like up in the wine country and in Napa. And just seeing it come together, and he just brings you in these short little clips about, okay, today we're pouring the foundation, and this is where the house is going to go. And you get to see that. Now, of course, I'm kind of weird. I kind of like watching those shows. And I said to myself, if I'm ever going to build a mansion, this is the guy I'm calling, right?
Because he's marketing himself.
Exactly.
You know who he is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that might be a change now because you met these two gentlemen. So
Yeah.
But I mean, this is something like, when you think about that, I do know actually a custom home builder, but he does not, he tells me about the great thing he just did in this kitchen and everything else. But again, where does the contractor go?
You listen to the Small Business Voice with Duncan and Jeanette Forni on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app. And we are here with Sean Dean, president of South Bay Grading. And he can be reached at 408-256-1513. And if you want to email him, you can email him at sean.dean@southbaygrading.com. And we're also here with Izzy Trujillo. He can be reached at 831-524-6013. And he is with Sparq. You got that company together.
Yeah.
Now, Izzy, you go here to Cardone, and you were interested in social media. And when people think about social media, they're thinking about, look, I bought $500 worth of Temu. Let's see what it looks like, or what's going on in Hollywood today, and all of these kind of things, or political shows and things like this. Did you go to, was it in Florida?
It was in Miami, yeah.
Yeah, Miami. Yeah. Did you go there saying, I'm going to find a contractor because I want to do social media for excavators and, General A's and things like this. So when the two of you met, why did you go there? What kind of social media were you interested in?
So I was there because I was just getting into the world of Grant Cardone and 10X. So I used to be in real estate media. I used to do all the photos and videos that you see when houses are going on the market. I did that for about 8 years, so I was pretty successful in that. And video is what actually took that business off, right? Everything exploded after video, and especially in COVID. That's when everything really blew up, and it was crazy. And I started getting into Grant Cardone's world because he started coming out with real estate investments. So I got introduced to the real estate side first, and then I started joining the marketing workshops, sales workshops. And I joined the first one. That's where I met Sean. So that's when my mind started kind of shifting more into marketing, because before that, my business was more of a referral based. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the real estate agents is referral based, but it's not really a way to be successful. You're gonna be struggling if you're waiting for that slow drip of referrals. So you got to learn how to market yourself and how to stand out from the crowd. especially when it's oversaturated.
And you know what? I believe there are very few accidents. I mean, when you look back, and I can look back at situations back in life and go like, wow, that was meant to be. This was meant to be. And so there, both of you ended up finding, well, thank you, God, right?
Yeah.
And as you guys started talking, and both of your brains just started pretty much exploding on, we could do this, and there's a need out there, and sales is find a need and fill it.
Yeah.
So you're filling that need. So I want to know, so you come up with this idea, you come back to California. How did you come up with the name Sparq? And that's Sparq with a Q, right? So does Sparq stand for anything, or how did you come up with the name Sparq?
Sparq came about because I had just pictured, like, you've got all this potential, right? It's all locked up like in a rocket, right? So you kind of visualize Elon, right? Yeah. So what
Elon.
ignites that potential and sends it into space? It's just a spark.
See, and that's what I was thinking. You know, I was thinking the two of you guys met, and all of a sudden your brains just kind of like, wow, we got to do this.
So Sean approached me with his idea, and I was like every other content creator out there, because I sold my real estate business, got into and started thinking I was going to do this content creation because it's a big business now. It's booming.
Yeah.
And
but
so
you got to find your niche, right?
Yep, exactly. So I was thinking I was just going to come in, create content, and that was it, right? And make these big sales for $10,000 off of businesses, right? Mm-hmm. And Sean came up to me with this idea, and I pitched him my idea, my package, and my price, and he said, "Well, you and everybody else, right? Like this, that's not what I want to do."
Oh,
so that was my first taste of how do you position yourself? What's your unique selling proposition? How do you position yourself where you stand out from the crowd? Because now, so in marketing, there's the blue ocean and red ocean. So blue ocean is an ocean where nobody's in it. It's a fresh new market. And red ocean is eventually, once everybody starts seeing all these profits that are being made, everybody jumps into the craze, right? Mm-hmm. And then it gets all bloodied and it's crazy. You fight for whatever position you have, and it turns into a red ocean. It's bloody, right?
Sharks are on the red ocean
so
side,
that was
right?
my first taste of like, okay, how do I separate myself from the crowd? Because Sean just gave me a little taste of that.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So this is a great cliffhanger. So I got to thank you for that.
No.
So when we come back, we have more from Izzy Trujillo and Sean Dean, and they're representing Sparq Social Media Marketing. So we get to learn more about that and how you guys kind of formed this company. So I'm excited. I know Jeanette's excited too. So 408-256-1513 and 831-524-6013. And you both co-own Sparq Social Media Marketing together. More to come on the Small Business Voice. Stay with us on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app.
Sparq Innovations, connecting local businesses with local families. Display your services and products with our pay-as-you-go optimized website design program and boost your brand's online presence with our affordable social media marketing tools. To learn more, visit our website at sisbroinnovation.com. That's Sisbro, SISBRO, innovation.com.
Welcome back to the Small Business Voice with Justin, Duncan, and Jeanette Forni on Power Talk 1360 KFIV. And we're here with Sean Dean, president of South Bay Grading, and he can be reached at 408-256-1513. And if you want to email him, you can email him at sean.dean@southbaygrading.com. And then the website is southbaygrading.com.
Yes, sir.
All right. And then we also have Izzy Trujillo here. He can be reached at 831-524-6013. And you both co-own Sparq Social Media Marketing together?
Correct.
Yep.
All right. And Isidro can be reached at isidro@thesparkgroup.com. And your phone number is 831-524-6013.
Yep.
Now, do you guys kind of service this area, the Central Valley? Because I know you both are from the Bay Area.
I'll let you go.
Yeah, we could pretty much service anywhere. The goal is to get big. So our message is pretty big, right? With South Bay Grading, the goal is to kind of help contractors get to a new level, right? Grow to new heights. And then with Sparq, we're kind of drafting out this off of South Bay Grading, and then serving in and giving them that marketing, right? Because a lot of contractors, when they come into the business, they're good at what they do, but they don't know how to market themselves. So SPG is that tier that's going to help them elevate themselves. They take care of estimating, all that other stuff. Sean will talk about that.
Okay.
But then we come in and help them.
Well, that's
market
big.
themselves.
I mean, if you estimate a job wrong, you could lose, especially on big jobs, you could lose your house.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the whole thing too. It's like even with like my husband, when it comes to bidding, he's basically like, you're 35 years, you know what you're doing. But he can walk into a job and he can pretty much just estimate what it's going to take, the labor, when they're going to go in, how much materials and everything else. Forget the math that they make you figure out on your own on the test to get your contractor's license. A contractor can walk in and he's going to go, I know what this is going to take. This is a big job. This is a small job, etc. But then to go out there and show your expertise. And so you found a need. You decided to go away from real estate. You guys are back there in Miami, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You, at that point, do you decide that, hey, you and I should work together, or did it take some time when you came back? How did this formulate together?
Yeah, because you said that you kind of got your first taste from
Yeah.
Sean, that it's you and every other company. So how'd you stand out?
Yeah. So Sean, he had this idea of doing weekly photo shoots for contractors, because they're always at different job sites. There's always something new that happens each week.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to kind of showcase that and show not only help contractors get work, but there's a shortage in the industry. So a lot of stuff that we try to promote too is like, we're not only going to help you grow your business with your marketing, but we're also going to help you get that next talent, right? Because there's
and
a
make
shortage
it
right
look
now.
nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I have seen,
Yeah.
I've seen some of the stuff that people post, and I'm going, this isn't showing me what it is. Look, here are the cabinets I just put in, and I can't even see the job.
Yeah. So we'll go in there, and the way we stand out is that weekly we do a photo shoot for them, so that way they're always up to date and always showing their next job site. So that way people are like, when they see them, they're like, wow, they're busy, right? I love their quality of work. And then if they're looking for talent, the talent's like, wow, they're out there promoting themselves. It looks cool. I want to work for them.
Nice.
And it shows the equipment, and
Right.
it shows the people that they have working there also. That's something as, let's say, just as a homeowner, or what would be a customer. Because when you think about it, even business owners or someone that's planning a large project, they're still thinking just like I'm thinking. If somebody shows up in an old pickup truck that's tiny, that can't even fit the ladders, and they're tied on with rope, I'm going like, OMG. So, I mean, when you see that this person has not only the equipment, the money, the skilled labor, hopefully they're also in matching shirts that actually have the name on it. And so, I mean, it gives that professionalism.
Yeah.
And I think making an impression.
Yeah.
I don't care what business you're in, that first impression and being able to help contractors. Because like we said, contractors, that's the last thing they're thinking about is, put the makeup on and make me look good in front of the camera, right?
Yes. Yes.
So you guys came back to California. Who called whom first?
So I called Izzy, and it had been maybe 2 or 3 months since we had met in Miami.
Oh my God, that's a
and
long
he
time. So it was
says-
just burning in your brain,
Yeah,
that
he says,
spark.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, funny story. I moved to Miami. I'm like, oh no, my big idea is not working. So
You can't excavate in Miami. It's all, sinkholes.
So long story short, he decided to come back to California, and so once he had reestablished himself here, we got together and started doing regular shoots, and he does all the content collection, and then he does a lot of the graphics and gets them ready to go on to social, and then my wife will actually do the posting for the company.
Good old wives.
Yeah, she's amazing. So
So you're listening to Justin Duncan and Jeanette Forni on the Small Business Voice. And today we have Izzy Trujillo, owner of Sparq Social Media Marketing, along with Sean Dean. He's the owner too. So you can actually email you at support@thesparqgroup.com, and that's SPRQ.
Yep. SPARQ.
SPRQ. Yeah. And then also your website is thesparqgroup.com.
Yes.
And then you have an Instagram, the Sparq Group. Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Yeah. And then Sean, you can be reached at 408-256-1513. And you can also be emailed at sean.dean@southbaygrading.com. And that your also website is southbaygrading.com.
correct.
So how are you growing, and how are you expanding the business and the partnership? Because one thing was you had a need, he was going to fill it. And then at the same time, he had a need and that new niche of going into away from real estate and going into contractors that have a need.
Right.
And so you guys got together, you came up with Sparq. And how are you growing, and who is your customer that you're looking for right now? Large contractors or small?
So the number one reason for contractors to have social media is actually more about talent acquisition, right? Because there's a shortage in the market of workforce. There's also a shortage of contractors. So in order to really get the workforce to notice you, you have to do something different and unique. And
So
the
like
goal,
all the subs are saying, I want to work for Sean.
well, even just the general workforce. So if we go out and we look for a subcontractor that does concrete, right? We're now looking at that subcontractor that does concrete and saying, okay, how can we help that contractor also grow his business? Well, a big way to do that is through social media. So there's a connection between South Bay Grading and Sparq because we're in the people business. We're constantly looking for new contractors, new relationships, and that opens the door for Sparq to say, hey, are you trying to grow your business? And most guys want to grow their business, but they find themselves stuck at that 5 to 10 employee range because they're really doing everything
That's scary.
mostly
They
themselves.
have to grow a lot because, I mean, that's the whole thing. The minute you get to a certain point, you either have to hire additional workers to be able to take on additional jobs, but then you cut into your money. So, I mean, you can't take a very long time from going to your one crew that can finish one job and then trying to split it onto another job and, pay additional people. So, I mean, so that's where marketing definitely comes in for a contractor. It's essential to be able to grow.
Correct. Right. So for SBG, right, they had this goal that they wanted to fulfill. And then me coming in with Sean, it was like, okay, so how do we do that? Let's figure out who we're serving, right? So you gotta, when it comes to marketing, you gotta find out who you're serving, who's your dream client, right? What problems do they have? What goals are they trying to achieve? Where can you find them? So a lot of contractors right now, a lot of them are on social media, but the problem is that, there's billions of people on social media, but 99% are consuming it, and only 1% are creating.
Yeah.
So we're trying to flip that mind switch to help contractors create, not consume.
Yeah.
A lot of them are on there consuming, so that's where we found a lot of our partners right now.
Nice.
And we've actually grown this network for South Bay Grading, where now every Wednesday we have a Wednesday morning meeting, and we have 93 contractors on there right now, and then we have currently 2 contractors on one of our monthly plans, and they just broke 500,000, right? $500,000.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And so,
Very
so
nice.
you were talking also money, and you were talking about how social media, they wanted $20,000. Contractors, they have a very small percentage of profit on top of them, and they're just going to be pushed back. Social media, I'm not spending money on. I don't feel comfortable with it, and so having someone that's a contractor as a partner, that breaks through that little veil, so to say, of a social media person. Does that really help?
Yeah, I didn't. I coming into the construction industry, I knew nothing about it. So all of my learning, it's all the same frameworks, all the same principles in marketing, but you just got to find out who you're serving, who the business is that you're working for. So when Sean, he's kind of been giving me everything like, okay, these are the pains that they're facing, these are the struggles, this is what we want to get. Everybody has ambition. Everybody wants to grow their business. So we just gotta, okay, what's the offer that we could put together that'll help them get there faster and with less worries.
As you're expanding, you're in the Bay Area primarily, but of course, a lot of building and construction is here. You guys are doing great. The Sparq was there, and it's just you were talking. He has the construction experience. You have the social media experience, and you're putting it together and really offering a service out there to contractors who know nothing about social media.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
That's exciting. Well, the one thing I got to commend you on is being able to help other contractors because they're technically your competition, correct?
no,
There
he
isn't
doesn't
any
have any.
competition.
Yeah,
There's
there's no
not- okay.
competition.
Yeah, there's more work out there than any of us could do on our own.
Gotcha.
So we really started going down the road of collaboration. I'm sure you're familiar with Brandon Dawson, and one of his quote is,
Yeah.
collaboration is the new currency, right?
Yeah.
So as we have expanded our network and we're pulling in subcontractors that are professional and they've got goals and they want to get somewhere, we can go after projects that are much larger than anything we could do all on our own.
Because your network has expanded. So again, how does a contractor, let's say, get a hold of them and get on? And is the morning meeting with 90 contractors, is that something that a contractor can jump onto and take a look at?
Yes.
How would they do that? Give us that.
They can go to southbaygrading.com. At the top of the page is an invite for that meeting. They click that link, give us their info, and they'll get an invite to that meeting.
Oh,
it's every
excellent.
Wednesday at 8 a.m.
All right. Well,
And it's a Zoom call, so it's it's all over the internet.
yeah.
I'm so glad we could introduce you to the Valley.
Yeah, gentlemen, thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having us.
So Sean Dean is president of South Bay Grading, and he can be reached at 408-256-1513. And then he can be reached at sean.dean@southbaygrading.com, and his website is southbaygrading.com. And then Izzy Trujillo is the president of Sparq, and Sean Dean is the vice president. So, but if you want to get a hold of Izzy, you can call him at 831-524-6013. Or you can email him at isidro@thesparkgroup.com. And that is spelled SPARQ.
Yep.
Did I say that right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you again for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate
for
being
having
here.
us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. You're listening to The Small Business Voice with Justin, Duncan, and Jeanette Forni on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app. Stay with us.
Just read your message on my phone. It's turning me on.
This business tip is brought to you by Sparq Innovation. I'm Catherine Ramos, and today we're talking about local networking. Connect with other local businesses, attend community events, and join local business associations like Gold Star Referral Clubs and the Modesto Chamber of Commerce. This helps to establish your business within the community and create useful partnerships that will help your company gain valuable referrals. Sparq Innovation, where we help local businesses connect with local families. For more information on this tip, check out our blog at sisbroinnovation.com. That's Sisbro, SISBRO, innovation.com.
Welcome back to The Small Business Voice with Justin, Duncan, and Jeanette Forni on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app. Reach out to us for more information about our featured guests by texting 209-896-6500, or you can always email us at info@smallbusinessvoicemedia.com. The Community Corner is proudly sponsored by Lightspeed Graphics, a creative agency specializing in video and animation. To get in touch with owner Kurt Gonzalez, simply text him at 209-617-2606 or visit his website at lightspeedgraphics.com. Jeanette, your agency is at 2012 West Monte Vista.
Yeah, they can walk in.
Yeah.
We open at, actually some of my staff gets there at 8:30, but we open at 9
Yeah,
and stay open till 5:30. And
So-
if they definitely wanted to come in on a Saturday, they can make an appointment to come in on a Saturday if they want to get a quote.
Oh, okay. I was
By
going to say,
appointment.
I didn't think you guys were open on Saturday.
Now, but some people, they're just like, that's the only time they can come in. And a lot of my staff, they live very close by.
Okay, so you do open, and then I remember I called you. I called your office, and I called at 8:59, and it said we're closed right now. But basically, I had to wait a minute and then call back, and then.
Well, yeah, because we want to make sure that people can always get a hold of Allstate 24/7.
Yeah.
So Allstate will turn our phones back on at 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
and then they turn them off. And at that time, if you call, you can end up getting customer service. So I get the notifications in the mornings of who called through, the night before
Yeah.
to add a card, to change an address, so they can still get their customer service and everything done even after hours when they come home from work.
All right, cool. So to email you directly, email Jeanette Forni at allstate.com. And if you want to call your office, call 209-667-2222. That way people can get a quote, maybe have you.
And when they go through like that phone tree that none of us like, just say speak to the agent, and they'll be directed directly to my all my staff. They will answer the phone.
So I'm going to promote this beef jerky again because this is a veteran-owned company. So this is Slim Shady's beef jerky, real beef, real jerky, and it is a diabetic-friendly food. 3 generations of experience. Slim Shady's produced at a Nevada co-packer using the highest quality beef top round. So They have original beef jerky, they got peppered beef jerky, and they got teriyaki beef jerky. And this is I think I said this is a veteran-owned company, right? Mm-hmm. I love beef jerky, and especially if it's they don't have the sugars in there. And I think it's something I have to throw in this by Marisol actually, make sure I can. So
because everything has sugar in them. When I went on a keto, I noticed that even like Italian sausage, one of the second ingredient is corn syrup. It's like pork, corn syrup.
Wow.
So I mean, unless you make your own sausage, I make my own beef jerky. But it's funny how everything has to have sugar in it, even like your tomato sauce and things like this. People are just so used to having sugar in everything.
I try not to. I try to do really good. Now, the other night I broke down. I went to a restaurant, and I had a drink. And when I have drinks, I usually like the sweeter drinks because I don't like tasting the alcohol. And so I treated
they
myself.
say those are like 1,200 calories for one of those.
Yeah, but I didn't. My weight didn't go up the next morning. So
when
I was
you say
happy about
sweeter
that.
drinks, I know women, they like the strawberry daiquiris and things like this. But what do men like when it's a sweeter drink?
Well, I don't know because when I have drinks, I like the women drinks. That's what I drink. So anyway, if you want to call this company, it's a Slim Shady's. The phone number is 209-855-6773, and go to the website slimshadys.com. So let's see. Oh, and then you're listening to the Small Business Voice with Justin, Duncan, and Jeanette Forni on Power Talk 1360 KFIV and the iHeartRadio app. Jeanette, we talked about getting prepared for 2025.
I like these guests that we had today because, I mean, that's part of the thing also. In the construction industry, you kind of like die down during the winter months and because, the rain. And, and if you're doing grading, there's rain, it's cold, you can't paint the outside of a house because how do you keep your paintbrush from drying out? When between painting, you put it in a plastic bag, stick it in the refrigerator, right?
Yeah,
that paint will never dry. So since there's going to be a lull in the industry, to start planning some of your social media and ramping up for 2025 to make sure that in the springtime, everybody gets their tax return money, and a lot of people spend it on home improvement and everything else. So for all contractors out there, I mean, this is the time to really think about, you want your name out there in the spring when people start thinking about, this spring, I'm probably going to paint my house.
Yeah.
This spring, I'm going to get that landscaper to really make my, yard better. I just had someone come and fix my sprinkler system, which I'm all happy about. But so ramping up for 2025 is also thinking about January, February. And you can't just in January say, I want to book something now. You got to put it all together and plan where you want to spend your money.
Yeah, absolutely.
But think about next year. Do you want another year that's exactly like this? It's almost like the elections too. A lot of people, are going like, where do you want to see, the country go? And
we always want to see something do better, and a lot of it's up to us. It starts with us. So we want to see. So I think you always want to outdo yourself going into the next year.
You should. Every single day you wake up, you want to be a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And it's with everything else. Like, you're doing great on your weight loss and everything else.
Yeah.
And we're really noticing and every single day, because otherwise just another day wasted.
Yeah.
And I talked to someone who ended up not doing something that they really wanted to do. And they said, they used the word starting with P and ending with SED. But they said, I did that for 3 years. I just completely destroyed 3 years of my life. And now I'm starting now. And I don't want to destroy another 3 years of my life not doing what I really want to do.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's destroying, but sometimes it's a learning experience. So now you learned, okay, I'm not going to do this again. Mm-hmm. And I learned.
But that's when you're actually moving forward. Some people they stop. They stop and they go, I'm just going to. But then 3 years later, they're going, I should have done this 3 years ago. And most people that, start their own business, everything else, and become successful, what's your regret? My regret is I didn't do this 20 years ago.
Yeah, right? Exactly, yeah. So if you're a business professional seeking networking opportunities, feel free to reach out to me at 209-896-6500 or drop me an email at info@smallbusinessvoicemedia.com. And if you want to email Jeanette or reach out to her, call her at 209-667-2222 or you can email her at JeanetteForni@allstate.com. And that's if you want to network and with us and everything like that.
Yeah, send me an email because, I am very busy in meetings. And my staff, of course, they will run interference and, they will also say, she's in a meeting. If you call my office right now, well, I'm on the radio.
Okay. So I want to thank you for tuning in each week. We look forward to having you back next week. A heartfelt shout out to our dedicated producer, Mike Murray, and the general manager at KCBP, Jim Costello, for their invaluable contributions to our show. We also appreciate the hard work of our intern, Tiffany Alex, and Kurt Gonzalez from Lightspeed Graphics, Video, and Animation for capturing our inspiring guests and their stories. One of these days, I'll read that right. If you're seeking assistance with digital marketing, don't hesitate to reach out to Kurt at 209-617-2606 or via email at kurt@lightspeedgraphics.com. Thank you, Jeanette, for joining me today and your support of the Small Business Voice. Remember to join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. as we dive into the minds of local small business owners and even more insightful discussions. And a special thanks to our guests, Sean Dean and Izzy Trujillo, for sharing their expertise with us. Now, let's take care of business.